Welcome back. This time we're looking at a triumvirate of Telecasters. And all these models are made in China. 2 from Squier and 1 from my favorite made in China brand, SX. If you've seen the review of the SX Stratocaster, you'll know that I like these guitars and they sound really great and they play really well as well. So let's take a look at each individual one here. We've got the SX Furion style Telecaster here. Okay, and that's in a 2-tone sunburst. Okay, same thing here with the Squier, which is a slightly different. This one is kind of a reddish hue. This is more your typical like violin sunburst antique style here. Okay, that's the Squier Affinity Tele. All right, and then we have the Squier Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster here. All right. So let's just go over some of the little points about each guitar here, and I want to talk about a couple little things that I noticed when unpacking them, setting them up, etc. We'll take a look at the insides, at the tone controls and switching on all of them in just a moment. Okay, they're all identical. They're all 2 pickup, 2 single coil Telecaster style guitars. All right, so that's something that's very similar. I could have also reviewed the Squier Bullet Telecaster, which they've now reissued. However, that has a humbucker in the bridge position, which I thought would just kind of put it tonally out of the range of what we're talking about. So I went with the SX here, okay? Now the SX has, as far as the bridge goes, what a lot of people would call the heart of the Telecaster, okay? That really simple screwed down bridge. It is a top loading bridge, meaning the strings go into the top of the guitar here, as opposed to the Classic Vibe, for instance, which has that traditional Tele through the back stringing, okay? This is a 3 saddle bridge as well, okay, with 3 individual saddles that you adjust then for the intonation. The 3 saddle is always a little bit of a compromise with the intonation, although you can get it pretty darn close, if not perfect with a little bit of tweaking, okay. This is Polycoat, the polyester coat neck and body, okay, which is that thick kind of heavy coat, which I'm not a real big fan of, which brings me to the Squier Bullet Telecaster, the Squier Affinity Telecaster. We're not doing the Bullet. This is the Affinity here. And what I really like about this one, first off, is that it has this polyurethane satiny finish neck. Now that's big points for this guitar. I really like the playability on the Affinity Tele. Very, very cool. Okay. The one thing that I wasn't so thrilled about this one, out of the box here, it's got some buzz at the 9th fret. Now after I got it all set up, intonated, neck adjusted, whatever, it still buzzes there a little bit, so that would need a little fret leveling. Now that's not so great for a beginning player who doesn't have the experience to do fret leveling, okay, so that's kind of a minus point for that one. I should mention that with the SX Telecaster out of the box, the action was very high. I needed to do a lot of adjustment on that. Once I got the truss rod adjusted right, it needed a little neck shim to get rid of the continually increasing buzzing up to the top frets here. Now neck shim is not a big deal again, but for a beginner who buys something and takes it out of the box, that's not going to be something that's, you know, a first-time guitar player is going to be able to do. So they might kind of blame that difficult playability on their inability to play guitar. That's always, you know, my one issue with inexpensive guitars. But, you know, they vary. Unfortunately, you don't get a chance to play SXs in most spots, but if you do, just pick a winner. You know, pick one that plays nicely to you, and you'll have quite a nice guitar. All right. So, price point here, $100 pretty much. Price point here, $200 or a little less actually. All right. And then for $300, give or take, the Squier Classic Vibe Telecaster 50s version. Okay. Really nice guitar. The only minus point for me is that thick polyurethane coat, the thick polyester coat on the neck. Okay, I'm not such a big fan of that, but otherwise, very cool guitar, and out of the box, this one played perfectly. It had a tag with all the setup points gone over by a technician. Okay, so obviously the increased price is something that you pay for there a little bit. Now, if you have the budget to go with that, then you're going to have something that plays better right out of the box. Although, you know, you should learn to set up your own guitars. It's a very cool thing. All right, just a couple more notes before I play through some sounds here. All the guitars have the same strings, okay, and I'm playing everything into a Marshall 18 watt that's got a little bit of an edge to it. It It cleans up nice if you pick it soft. All right, it gets a little bite if you pick it harder. All right, it's kind of a nice sound for Telecasters. All right, the SX Tele here first, which is now nicely intonated. All right, no buzzy spots on the neck or anything. Really, really cool guitar for the price. So anyway, here we go. Bridge pickup. Sound. You'll notice when we switch to the Affinity that this one is lacking just a little touch of clarity, and I'll chalk that up to some of the electronics in here. I think with a little swap of those pots and tone caps and stuff, this one could sound a lot nicer. Do a single note thing. This one just got a little bit more spank and a little more telly bite to it. Okay, again, you know, if this amp is kind of set kind of bright and you know, you roll off your tone and stuff. I'm just doing this wide open here, so you got a comparison. Okay, it's just a little bit more lower mid. All right, a little bit rounder sounding, maybe. I do love the finish on this guitar. It's just very cool looking. You know, this one has that little extra touch of optical and play feel goodness. It also has the more modern C shape, which the other two are a little bit thicker at the top. Now that's just a matter of preference, worth mentioning. Now you'll notice here on the bridge pickup, this is going to not be as dirty as the other two. These Alnico III pickups that this one, the white one, comes stock with, have a little less output. Now the other two, I'm guessing, are ceramic pickups. I know the Fender Affinity, their stock pickups there are ceramic, and I doubt there's Alnicos in that SX. So middle pickup position, SX Strat, SX Tele. Okay, it's worth noting that the SX actually has a little bit more output than the Affinity, and the Affinity a little bit more output than the Squier 50's Classic Vibe. Classic Vibe Tele. All right, now the SX in the neck position here, and I should note that this is, out of all the guitars, the darkest sounding neck pickup. It might have something to do with the tone circuit, it might just be the pickup itself, but just worth noting. I should note that with this guitar, we had this buzz problem at the 9th fret. This is something that I would have to file the frets down in order to get rid of. Now that's kind of a bummer for someone who was to order this guitar and get it as a beginner. Might not know how to deal with that. Now, it's not a problem that goes up further. All right, up here it's fine, but right here we got some buzzing. So anyway, that's kind of minus points for the Squier Affinity here. Although, you know what? You go into a music shop and check out a few and find one that's not buzzing. Or if it's buzzing and you like the one that you got there, tell them to fix it, So anyway, overall, great guitar, but just that one little problem on here. All right, just because it's got to be with Teles. All right, back to the bridge pickup and open G for a little keef kind of stuff, And finally, the Affinity, which has a very cool twanginess that comes through. I think you'll notice that over the other two somehow. Here we go. Yeah. All right, a quick look at the guts of the wiring here. This is the Squier Affinity Tele. As you can see, it's got the larger pots installed there. Now, comparing that directly to the SX guitar, that one has those little kind of cheapo mini ones in there. And I'm wondering if that doesn't have to do more with the sound of that neck pickup on the SX Tele, in the electronics more so than maybe the quality of the pickup. I mean, these lipstick style pickups here, I'm telling you, optically they all look the same. I haven't taken apart the guitars completely to check those out, but I'm going to guess that all made in China, they're probably pretty similar. And here we are at the Squier Classic Vibe 50s, and that also has those large pots in there. Okay. Overall, the soldering works pretty clean on the two Fenders, and then again here on the SX, it's just kind of a big goopy mess in there. All right, so maybe the pickups aren't such a big deal, but that internal wiring and the pots there could stand an upgrade. Okay, so considering doing that and the work to do it, and as I mentioned, the tuning pegs on the SX weren't of the greatest quality. It's probably best to just go straight for the Squier Affinity. Well, three very, very cool guitars here. Whether you're starting off with something very budget and are willing to deal with maybe just those tuners aren't so great at the outset and set up your own action, maybe upgrade those electronics. The SX, very cool. I really, really dig the Affinity Tele here with that very playable neck and these very cool sounding pickups. I have to say, just for rocking out, the Tele kind of typical twang factor comes through on this one most of all. And then the cool pine body look and a little extra heft of the 50s Classic Vibe Tele here, which is, I think, overall my favorite. I like sort of the finesse of those pickups too, although the sound of this one has maybe a little bit more of that Tele twang. Anyway, it's a toss-up here. You have to kind of pick according to your budget and your desires. I have to say, all in all, if I had to make a recommendation for someone who's starting out and wants to get a Tele, go with the Affinity. It's very cool. For the price, I think, street price, more like $179 or something. You probably get them on special, $150 even. The minor ninth fret problem here was just a little thing on this particular one. And I'm sure if you check them all out in the stores, make sure there's no fret buzz. I think this is really the way to go. So that's my recommendation. Those are some sounds. You make your own decisions. Very cool guitars. Thanks for tuning in. And check out the Tele-based lessons that are coming up for this month as well.